It's okay for somebody to believe whatever they're believing.
Yeah,
It's not for you to change them. You accept them as they are, and then there's
yeah.
peace. There's more peace.
Welcome to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. We talk about the entrepreneur mindset.
If you get one shot at this, what kind of shot are you going to take?
If we forget who we are, they're going to forget who you are.
And you've got an adversity story that's out of this world.
Everything from that Main Street brick and mortar to that billion-dollar manufacturer.
How are you doing today, Cheryl?
I'm great. Thank you, Ken. Appreciate you.
Thank you for joining us. Super excited to hear about, you're the founder of QueenBee Biz?
I am.
Awesome. We're super excited to hear more about your business, but before we jump into that, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what your background is?
Sure. Yes. I grew up in Wisconsin, little town in Wisconsin, and had an opportunity to move to Vegas when I was 26. And so I quit my job, rented out my house, packed up my B210 Datsun with my 5-year-old and 9-year-old and left in the middle of a snowstorm.
Wow.
So yeah,
Okay.
My family had a fit. My grandma gave me the longest. She gave me 6 weeks. And I've been here for over 40 years.
Wow. Never looked back. So are you,
Right.
are you Henderson or Vegas?
I'm in Vegas. Yeah.
You're in Vegas.
I'm about 28 miles from Henderson. So
Okay.
way north of Henderson. Well, we kept moving a little bit further and a little bit further north. And so the city just kept growing past us. So finally we just stayed put.
Yeah, the city has changed quite a bit. I've been going to Vegas. I think the first time I went to Vegas, I was probably 10 or 11 years old, and we stayed at Circus. So,
Okay.
And I've been almost at least once a year since then. So, I'm pretty familiar with the town. Don't go as much as I used to, but so can you tell us a little bit about QueenBee Biz? What does QueenBee Biz do?
Okay. Well, QueenBee Biz is actually a good friend of mine, and I started it back in 2012. We were on the same path, and we kept saying, we need to get in business together. So finally, in 2012, we decided to start QueenBee Biz. And what we wanted to do is just share what we've learned over the last decades that has afforded us really just a very blessed life. We've learned how to, I guess you could say, manipulate the law of attraction. But we teach people how to change their mindset. And she hasn't been around for the last few years because her husband retired, and they just travel the world and are gone most of the time. And she's still on the website, but it's mostly me. Back in 2016, we discovered and got certified in an energy healing modality called reconnective healing. So if you know anything about energy healing, Reiki is probably the most popular word out there that people do. And because she was a Reiki master, she said that the reconnective healing is like the mother lode of all the healings. So it works kind of like Reiki, but it's a little bit more in depth than that. Okay. Actually, I started out with the energy healing probably about 15 years ago, maybe not quite that long. And that was with emotional freedom technique, the tapping. A lot of people know it as the tapping.
Right.
So one quick story about that one. My granddaughter was 9 at the time, and she was just in extreme pain because she was growing so fast and her legs hurt her. And I was just learning this technique. And I said, come here, sit down a minute. So we sat down in the middle of the floor, went through the process like one time, maybe a minute. And when I was done, her pain was all gone.
Wow.
It actually freaked her out because it was all gone. But that really, really sold me on energy healing. And like I said, Vicki and I just wanted to share all the different things that we had learned over the last couple of decades from them on our personal growth and what it takes to really attract the goodness in your life. There's no way I would even have dreamed I'm in the position I am today to be able to be. We have a family business, so I met my husband. I'm going to back up a little bit. Met my husband in Vegas here in 1980 and got married in 1981, July 4th, coming up to 41 years. And we've got he had a son. I had my son and my daughter. So we've got 3 kids, 4 grandkids, and 1 great grandchild.
All right. Congratulations.
So,
that's a good run.
Yeah, it is.
Awesome.
We've had a family business. He started a family business back in 1988. And that is where he would install phone systems in other businesses. We still have it today. He's totally retired from it. I am semi-retired from it. We have the kids running the business now.
Wonderful.
And then, so I can focus on my passion with the QueenBee Biz.
Right. Okay.
And
So QueenBee Biz helps people clean their energy, or I'm super into all of this stuff. Not nearly as deep as you by far, but I've had the meditation healing. I meditate. I try to meditate every day. I'm really off right now, and I can tell in my daily life. But I've done the hypnosis, aura cleansing, a lot of that stuff, and I try to bring it back to practical thought process on laws of attraction and things like that, and manifestation stuff. I have some theories, and I don't know if we want to talk about the theories, but what practice do you specialize in today?
I pretty much practice the reconnective healing and sometimes the tapping. It's just whatever feels right with the client at the time. I'm also a huge proponent of CBD products because 5 years ago, I couldn't even open a jar with arthritis in my hands. So I started using a high quality CBD way back then. And so I'm fine now. Thank goodness. I still take it every day, and I can really go into depth about why CBD works so well. I love educating people on it.
Yeah, I can tell you from my personal experience, I've had my own struggles in life. Some of my biggest struggles were with alcohol, and it almost took my life. Multiple times almost took my life, but literally I had fatty liver disease about 7 years ago. Complete turnaround, no signs of liver damage today. My doctor put me on Xanax to help me get off the liquor, and then the withdrawals from Xanax were almost as bad as the withdrawals from the alcohol, although not potentially fatal.
Correct.
But I don't know that I would have been able to get off the Xanax without CBD.
Oh, really?
It was huge. Okay. Yeah, the anxiety, dealing with the anxiety of the panic attacks when you're going through withdrawal was so intense that without, I lean on CBD quite a bit during that time frame. And I still take it every day. I've got an 11-year-old son who's autistic, nonverbal, and without CBD, he might sleep 3 hours every 3 days, and with CBD, he sleeps a good 8 hours every single night.
Nice. So that's what's so great about it, because it works from the neurological center, taking care of anxiety, panic attacks, stress, PTSD, and also the joints. I mean, everything, because our endocannabinoid system is actually the mother lode of all of our systems. And so that I won't get into a quick story on that because we may not have time for it, and I can talk all day about it.
Fantastic. So we'll go to QueenBee Biz. Based in Vegas, do you have to live in Las Vegas to use your service? No. Or do you do Zoom stuff as well?
Well, what's great about the reconnective healing, you can be on the other side of the world and we don't even have to see each other. What I do, if somebody wants a session, they call me. I just get them set up. I get them relaxed and just kind of in a good frame of mind and hang up. And then I just imagine they're in front of me. And I do the process just as if they were right here. It's a hands-off process anyways. So if they were right here, they would be on a massage table. I would just be scanning their body for the frequencies. And then what happens with reconnective healing is that when I find those frequencies, I just kind of play with them a little bit, and that creates a pathway between them and the universe. Basically, it's a communication pathway for the universe and them to speak together, and whatever really needs to take place at that time takes place. So they might come in for a gut issue or knee pain or something like that, but really it ends up being an emotional issue, which is really the main cause of all dis-ease in your
damn emotions. If we could just figure out how to manage all of them, it would be so much easier.
Right.
Okay.
So it works on the quantum level because there's no time or space in the quantum. Don't ask me to explain it. Don't know how.
I'm not going to ask you to explain it. I've seen enough in my life to know, at a very fundamental level, I know that if I'm in a bad mood, the people around me are generally going to be in a bad mood. And if I'm in a good positive mood, the people around me are generally in a good positive mood. I'm aware that I can control, although sometimes challenging, the mood that I'm in. I can choose to ignore that bad stuff and choose to really focus on the positive. I know that I can do that. It's hard sometimes. Almost seems impossible when you're, really upset or you're stuck in traffic and the day's just not going your way. And I did a practice on manifestation just literally this year, and blew my mind. And I can tell you, do you believe in manifestation, I'm assuming?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I got story after story for that one.
So I did a practice, and I forget the lady that says the practice. And throughout my day, I'm a middle-aged white guy. I don't look for frilly stuff in my life, but she said, start looking for hearts in your life, in your daily life. And when you find them, celebrate them, right? Like really like, oh yeah, I found it. Like make believe celebrate it. And there's one right there. And so I did this for a while, in a couple of days, and I swear there was hearts everywhere around me. I started taking pictures of them and all this stuff. Now I've stopped that practice and they've all seemed to have disappeared on me. But my impression of manifestation is that the universe has all things available to it, and you only allow what to come in what you feel is important. Is that
I
pretty
agree
much
with that. Now, when I
Okay.
first started, and that's one of the mindsets that,
So you're not really creating anything. You just, on a normal basis, you're only looking for the stuff that you're looking for. So if you're looking for pain and anguish, that's what you'll get. But if you're looking for happiness
Yes.
and abundance of money or food, then that's what you'll find.
right. So everything's out there. I mean, the universe provides whatever we need, whatever we focus on. So that's where the mindset comes in. When we first started learning this, it was like, okay, I would say affirmations and I would do all the different stuff, and it wasn't working. And I'm like, what's wrong here? So finally I realized what the key to it is actually having the feeling as though it already exists.
Yes.
The how-to shows up. My challenge was I had to have control on the how-to. When you let go of that, the universe provides all the skills, the tools, the people, whatever it is that you need to have shows up. As long as you are in the position of, I already have this. This is how I feel when I have it. This is what I say. This is what I do. And then it just shows up.
Bam, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. And I do I practice manifestation as much as I possibly can. It's hard to do on the daily basis if you're in a business and your daily grind. You've got stuff like payroll employees and problems that pop up all the time. But it's important. I think it's wildly important, at minimum, just to do like a 5-minute meditation every single day of your life, right?
Yeah.
Just to keep yourself grounded. Why do you think it's so hard for a person that hasn't had any experience with that to... It's not that I think that they say, oh, it's all mumbo jumbo, which a lot of people say that, right? But why do you feel that some people just put up this wall and say, you know what, I'm not even gonna try it?
They're just not open. They just don't understand how powerful their mind is. And when they're closed off, usually they're in a bad space, or they're in a settle for space. Could be a settle for space, and they think they're happy with that, or they're in a really bad place. One thing I do want to talk about as far as the business goes, so we have our family business. We used to have an office. I used to go in every day. And with one of the economic downturns, it was a struggle. I mean, our monthly net was 80 grand a month. And most of that's payroll. So
Right.
I'd walk in and my office administrator would say, Cheri, go in your office and do your thing. So I would go in my office and I would just get really relaxed, and I would just imagine that she was cutting the payroll checks. All the money was in the bank. She was bringing it to me. I was signing it. I was pleased to sign it. She was able to take the checks, give them to the employees. Everything was great, and the money would be in the bank. Now, what's really crazy is when I would do that and I felt as though I already had it and it was there, the money was there, it would show up in the craziest ways.
Yeah.
And that's
It absolutely does.
That's the law of attraction. That's what they talk about, the secret. So when I'm out driving, I don't get upset over traffic and being able to be in a place in time. When I get in my car, I call them my traffic angels.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, protect me, my car, and everyone around me. And if I have an appointment and I end up being late, it's only because it's okay that I'm late because everybody else is late too. So there's no reason to really worry or stress. The more you worry or stress, the more challenge there is that's going to show up for you.
Absolutely. That's hard to do though, right? I mean, there are real stressors in life. And my wife, I'll tell you, she's not the biggest believer in the world, right? And she'll tell me, she's like, well, you do all this work and you don't have an outlet for your stress. You don't have a release for any of that stress. Do you have, what do you say for that? Like, if you're always in this positive and always searching for the positive and kind of pushing the negative away, what do you say to an argument like that?
Where she's saying that you aren't getting rid of your stress?
Right.
But is that true?
I don't seem to feel that way.
Okay, that's just her perception of it.
Right.
However,
there are times that I'll fall off the wagon, right? I mean, everybody has bad days. There's, I'm sure even the Dalai Lama has had some bad days in his life, right? Where he wasn't the best person that he could be.
Right.
So yeah, I'm.
So it's just what do you say to them about it? You just ask them, you let me know when I'm looking like I'm stressed so I can use my tools, because we forget about our tools when it's happening to us. I mean, my grandkids and kids are great at that. They're going, Grandma, just let it go.
Right.
Because they grew up with me learning these tools and these techniques. And so when you surround yourself with those type of people, then they're there to support you when you're going through the stuff and you forget to use your tools. Now, I've lost people in my life because when you have that energy, they don't want it, or they don't want to be in that environment, they're out of your life.
Yes.
Now, sometimes you have close family members are there, but that doesn't mean that they're going to hang around you a lot either.
Yeah, I mean, family can be, some family members I love, and distance keeps that love strong. Right?
There you go.
So it's okay.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
It's okay. So you started business with your best friend in 2012, and now her husband is retired and she travels a bunch, so she's not with you all the time. How long ago was that?
That was about 3 years ago.
About
maybe
3 years
4.
ago?
I don't know. I lost a year in this last 2 years with everything that's been going on.
I think we all did during the lockdown.
So I'm basically retired too. So I'm basically retired from the family business, and I pretty much just play with QueenBee Biz. It's just, I'm here to help people. I'm here to support them, whether it's emotionally, physically, or financially, because I have some resources to create diversified income too.
Wonderful.
But it all fits together. Everything fits together.
So when you're going through this, and transitions are hard for a lot of people. Change is hard for a lot of people, right? Well, change is hard, I think, for everybody. Some people handle it better than others, but there's always, uncertainty is uncertainty. Mm-hmm. You've been running this business, your family, you got your family business, and you've got QueenBee Biz on the side of the family business, and now your partner's leaving you. What were some of the tools that you used during that transition period where she's leaving? Part of the obvious thing would be like, okay, well, my partner's gone, we're just going to shut this down and not do QueenBee Biz anymore, right? Well, what were some of the things that you did to keep motivated and say, hey, I'm going to do this, on my own, continue this path?
It's just, well, actually, I started networking more.
Okay.
I got out and started and let it be known that I was still here and doing it, and doing more on social media to let people know that yes, I'm still here. And actually, Vicki still gets a client here and there because she's on one of our reconnective healing sites, so people get a hold of her. If she's traveling, she just sends them to me. And if
Okay.
she's, because part of the summer she's up in the mountains in Colorado too. Whereas now for the last couple of years, I'm up in the mountains in Vegas area
Right.
or Utah area actually, but I'm back
Okay.
and forth a lot. But I still do, even when I'm up in the mountains, I got good Wi-Fi and everything. That was one of the requirements to
Yes.
be able to have good Wi-Fi. So I can stay in tune with people. And during 2020, that actually worked out pretty good because everything was online back then.
Mhm.
And so I was able to stay connected with people. So that helped a lot to be able to, and it's just keeping the relationships, letting people know you're still here. If you need anything, I'm available. Let me know what you need and we'll go from there.
Okay. So in your practice, let me see if I can, and I'm a little off topic from the business side here, but I love talking about this kind of stuff. So
Me
I
too.
think we can go off script from my normal, which I kind of do sometimes anyway. You absolutely believe. I'm phrasing this. I'm making a statement, but I'm asking you a question. Absolutely believe that the entire universe is like a giant neural network, and where everything's connected at all times.
Yes, I do. And that can be scary because when you hear
Or beautiful.
about you hear about these people that are doing mass murders or, just evil people, and you stop to think about we're all connected some way. How does that really work? That really creates a confusing
Conflict.
mindset. Yeah. But I really believe we are. And that's with the law of attraction, when you're thinking about what it is that you really desire, how are you attracting that? Because the universe, there's one main source and we're all part of that source. We
Right.
just choose to use it for the good, where some of them go on the dark side. And
Yes.
yeah.
Do you think that maybe their connection to everything might be weaker? Like their connection, or maybe they're confused with what they're being told?
Okay. 911, or when the Twin Towers,
Right.
there are organizations that gauge the vibration of the of everything
Right.
around us, right? So after that and everybody started feeling all that compassion, the vibration was raised really high. There was a study done in Washington, Oregon, and it was done with the crime that was going on there. They had like prayer groups or meditation groups, and they would all do this cohesively at a certain time. I'm trying to think of the world organization that does this. They still
Right.
do it to this day. But for that one area, they were doing this to test the crime rate in that area. So there was a group that at a certain time and everything would have these meditations and raise the vibration of that area, and the crime rate went down. I don't remember what the percentage was, but it does. It changes. So the more people that are at a higher vibration, the more likely it is for there to be less crime, deaths, illness, everything. The challenge we're having right now is because everybody's been living in fear for 2 years.
It's tough.
So that's why there's so much crap that's going on in the world right now, because the
Right.
vibration is so low from a mass of people. And when you join this global, I think it's called Global Coherence, is an organization that you can get part of, and you can join in with the meditations and raising the vibration of the world.
Okay. So I can say that there's 2 moments in my life that I can remember. One of them was post 9/11, and not the next day, like the days after 9/11, it was really quiet. Like the whole world seemed quiet and slow. And then, but there was a good 3 or 4 months after that where everybody was just working together, and there was a lot of forward movement, and things seemed really, really good. Racial tension seemed to be really down. There wasn't a whole lot of hate. I mean, there was shortly after we went into war.
Right.
But like even, it was a really great time. It was a very sad thing that happened at 9/11, but it was a great time to be an American because it
was.
felt like we were all Americans, right? We all had this divide that we have today is horrible. I hate it. It's so bad. It's, this brothers fighting brothers over stupid stuff, right? It's just, it's really not a good place that our country's in right now. And then the other one was post Rodney King, right? After the trials and all of that stuff, it went, the riots happened, and then I guess the peacekeepers started coming out and talking and all of that stuff. And it was really sad for me. It's really sad for me now to see these race tension raising back up, because I felt like, 95, 96, 97, that had all kind of almost dwindled away. Like everybody was, and something happened and it ramped way back up again, unfortunately. So, maybe that's absolutely true. If somebody doesn't believe it, do you just say, okay, I'm sorry that you don't believe this, and move on with your life? Or is there still something in you that says, hey, I need to convince this person and show them the light?
I mean, you can tell that over the last couple of years too, with people, how divided they've become because they're so staunch in their belief system, instead of really being open to really negotiate and be okay with the other person's belief. It's okay for somebody to believe whatever they're believing. It's not for you to change them. You accept them as they are, and then there's peace. There's more peace.
Yes. My favorite director and writer, Kevin Smith, or one of my favorite writers and directors, there's a line in one of his movies. He said, maybe we shouldn't believe stuff. Maybe we should just have ideas.
That's a good idea.
Right? Like, people die over their beliefs and go to war over their beliefs. But if they just have ideas, like, maybe this is real, maybe it's not. I don't know, right? It's a nice theory to have. And it's one that as I get older, realize that I don't know much about this planet or this universe. I'm just kind of living in it and bobbing through it and enjoying it as much as I possibly can. But yeah, I've definitely taken a lot of that approach to, I'd rather have an idea than a belief. Because I don't want to, if our beliefs end up being different, then that means that we're in conflict with each other and somehow.
I know, and that's what's happening in the world today.
So how do you change that? Do we need another 9/11 event to move that back? Right? That's a horrible thought.
It is. And probably, talking about global coherence, I really need to get back involved with them, because they are a worldwide organization that can support change in the world. And I think the more people that get involved and start meditating with them, that the quicker that the world will come back into a better place. It's a cycle, though. It's just like you said, after 9/11, how everything changed to the good, and now everything's gone the opposite direction. It's such a big pendulum. It's ridiculous.
I guess, we have something the scale of 9/11 happening right now with Russia and Ukraine and Poland and all that's horrible stuff. That's going on right now. And it seemed that Americans cared about it for about a week or two, but it seems to have slid to the wayside now, which is really, really sad as well.
It starts with family. And if you're at work. So a lot of businesses now are focusing on the culture of the business.
Yeah.
Actually, I was just at a Toastmasters meeting at the city in North Las Vegas, and one of the head honchos there is in our chapter, and he was saying how now the city is talking about enhancing having the employees, giving them tools to grow personally, to become more personal growth, whatever it might be. And that's one thing that Toastmasters can support people in too. But that's just changing the culture of that organization, which is something that a lot of corporations are doing now. Even when we had our small business and we had 10 or 12 or 14 employees, it comes from the top down.
Yes.
So when the leader is positive and all about personal growth and cohesiveness and team playing and putting people in the right positions, in positions that they are because everybody has different personalities. So if you find out what their personality is, you want to make sure that they're in a position where it supports that too.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
so I was really big about that, getting personality testing done. We did several different personality testings. And so each person could learn how to communicate with each other
Right.
in that organization, in our business. And
It is really important in business.
It is. It's huge. I had a receptionist, and once we did a personality test on her, I knew why she wasn't good in that job. It wasn't a position to be in, so we changed that out.
Right.
And then learned how to communicate better too with each other. So one thing that I like to do is have each person's personality put up on the wall so that each employee can refresh their memory as, oh, when I'm talking to this person, they like to have the story. Or when I'm talking to this person, don't tell them a story, just get right down to brass tacks.
Right.
That type of thing.
So you'd literally put their personality types up on a board so that people could reference them before they would go talk to them. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a neat.
So you do a
that's a
training
neat
to
tip.
begin with,
Right.
to explain how it all works and that. And then so they don't have to try to remember exactly how to talk to that person. Just put tips up on the board. That's okay. This person just likes to get down to brass tacks. This person, just saying thank you isn't enough. You need to do more than just a thank you with them, because those are the people who drive the SUVs and carry all the supplies and all that stuff. And
Okay.
they do more for everybody else than what they do for themselves.
I love that idea, and actually, I've had a couple of interviews with people that run those personality tests, and I'll throw some of the links up to some of the podcasts on this one, referencing some of those personality test companies, because it is important to know who you're working with, and the 4 love languages help me and my wife quite a bit, so we learn how to communicate with each other, right? And then there's a lot of different personality tests you can do. I typically, I work and I have, this is kind of funny, I run an IT business during the day, and me and my wife run a gym at night, or she runs it during the day, and I'm just there at night. And we hire big-time introverts at the IT firm, and extroverts, out of this world extroverts at our gym, because they're personal trainers and they're training big group classes. So I have found that the business that I have kind of dictates the kind of employee, but my sales team is definitely extroverted in my IT firm, right? They're going to be out there and doing it. But I've left it at that kind of introvert extrovert, kind of short-sighting the individuals, right? Either you're introvert or extrovert, which is just scratching the surface of personality types, right? It's not even close to what we're really going to need to do.
Right. One of the main ones that corporation uses DISC, D-I-S-C.
Yes.
So you've got your dominant, you've got your, I forget what they all stand for. I love the color code test, where you got your red, blue, yellow.
Well, and I did an interview specifically that I put in here, and he would bundle personality types, like, because the concept is, well, you're not just one personality type, you've got multiples. So you bundle them together with their tests, and you're like, okay, some days they're going to be this, and some days they're going to be this, or in different situations, people will act a little bit differently, which I found really, really interesting as well. So, but we'll throw those up, and if you run in a business and personality tests are really huge, I would say more than 5 employees, you would start to really need to think about that.
Even 3 or 4, even with your family. Do it with your family. You might have a kid that loves to stay up all night and sleep all morning. Why is that? Where are they at? What are they doing with that? Sorry, I'm going to turn that off.
That's okay.
Or why does one hibernate in their room and the other one's all extroverted and out there and all over the place? How do you communicate with them? How do you get them motivated to do what you want them to do? Or encourage them to get out and talk to other people? If that's not their core personality, then
don't push
you have to find ways to make it happen.
I just 2 days ago, I read a really great post that said most parents will do anything in the world for their children except for let them be themselves.
Yeah. Awesome.
Right? And I'm like, that is so true. And And at some point, I think my daughter is, swirls a little bit because I let her be herself so much, right? I give her very, very little direction other than positive influence to keep doing what she's doing, and she's crushing it. But I think right now at 15 she feels lost. But I think all 15-year-old girls feel lost.
Oh yeah, they're going through that age, boy.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, I think we can both remember that. Are we cool? Remember that? So.
I still think I'm 15. I don't understand why I look the way I do. So I got stuck at that age.
When we were doing this, and you have different personalities in different environments.
Right.
So when my kids were going through the training with me, I was a blue, which with that program, it was a blue is your supporter, the one that wants to support you and take care of that stuff. And my kids were like, heck no, she's a red, man. She's a controller. But blues are big controllers too. So
right.
And my husband, when we did it again with another company, we were in it, and the one lady kept saying he's a yellow, which is or he's a red, which is like your A-type personality, right?
Right.
I'm going, he's a yellow, man. He's a big promoter. And so we finally brought it up because all through the class, I kept saying, no, he's not red. He's a yellow, blah, blah, blah. She goes, all right, we're pulling it up. Well, he was almost like 50-50. So he's a great innovator, a great leader, and he's a great promoter. But he's the one that tells the blue, we're going to have a party on this date. And then when the date shows up, he found a different party and he goes to that one instead of the one he had somebody else fix.
Right. Awesome.
So yeah, you are more than one. And
yes.
I fit really good in 3 of them and really weak in one area. So just knowing that about yourself too helps you with not only your own self and your own life, but also with communicating with other people. And
right.
It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. I want to talk about affirmations for a second, or personal mantras. I call them personal mantras, but they're called affirmations quite a bit. Why are they so important?
I used to teach in junior and senior high schools with a nonprofit organization called Payback and another one called Choices. So Choices was where I would go in and teach them about life. When you get out of school and you get a job, this is how you get paid. So if you're making $10 an hour, you're not coming home with $10. This is
right.
What you has taxes, all that, time management, different things, and believing in themselves. So I always like to leave them with giving themselves affirmations, because everybody's unique. Everybody has a special gift to offer the world. Mm-hmm. And the affirmations are really important to help you believe that is who you are. So part of mine was I'm happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, and then there were like 12 other ones I used to say. So right. I used to tell them, make a list of 10 affirmations of who you would like to be, how you would like to be, what are the strong points? Are you happy? Are you courageous? Are you whatever? Make that list, say it just before you go to bed, and say it when you first get up. And when you're saying those words, I want you to feel as though that's how you really are, because then they become that person.
Yeah. I said, just saying them out loud doesn't do anything, right? You've got to really
you have to feel
believe
it. You have to, and that helps you believe it. So really have that feeling that's who you are, and see what happens to your life after 30 days. And it will change people's lives. I know it did for me.
If there were 1 or 2 affirmations that anybody in the world could use, do you have any that would just work for anybody in the world? If they said, I've never done affirmations before, what is one affirmation that I could start using today to start improving my life?
Courageous. That's the first thing that popped in my mind. Courageous. Because when you're courageous, you can do just about anything else.
Absolutely. I would say the one that changed me the most was I love and respect you while I was looking in the mirror. Right. And I think that a lot of people.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
they don't realize that they are themselves, and they don't ever take the time to recognize themselves in that way. So, I have what I call core values that I read my team every single practice, and I've got a little boxing team. It's fun, and there's 12 of them, and at the end I tell them, you are a champion. I want you to tell yourself that every single morning when you wake up. And I know that whenever I'm saying it and believing it with them, the team practice does better. Everything around it is just better. It's clicking better. And I can tell the kids that don't do it and the kids that do it. It's just so obvious to me when they're doing it. It's amazing. It's a lot of fun. So that's manipulating the fabric of the world, right? That's one of the tricks.
Our energy spreads out, I think it's 6 or 8 feet, right? So when you're in a room full of people, all your energies are overlapping each other. So if you're around a group of people that are all positive and in a great space, you're overlapping and you're making it even more powerful. If you're in a room full of negative people, now some negative, if you have a room full of positive people and a negative person comes in, you can feel that, but because we're so positive, they might not even be able to stay. Or they love it and they raise their vibration. Now, it might not come up as high as ours, so it will just, kind of level out. Right.
But that one super negative person can destroy the whole thing.
They can. Yes, they can.
It's
that's
really
why
bad.
It's so important to hang out with the like-minded people that are in that positive form, so you can support each other and staying at that level. Right. So you were talking about the looking in a mirror thing. One of the first things when you're tapping was tapping on the side here, an acupressure point. I love and accept myself.
Okay.
And saying that 3 times. Now, some people couldn't even say it. So we'd have to work on that first. So we'd have to work on one in particular. That's what she had to work on, is being able to say that I love and accept myself.
Right.
And it took her a couple weeks to really be able to get even past that point.
It seems so simple.
It does.
But it's a challenge for a lot of people, right? And I grew up kind of, a little rough and, try to be what I thought the world expected me to be. So those kinds of things were not stuff that we talked about growing up, and definitely not my friend group or my peer group. That was, it was about who could drink the beer the fastest and who could beat up the next guy better, right? So it was never about, self-care or self-preservation or even self-growth. And those things are so important. And if you're running a company, running a business, if you're a manager, a general manager, a shift lead at McDonald's, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you have people that are reporting to you, I think you have an obligation to do the best that you possibly can. And my experience has been, if I'm in a negative mindset, I am not doing the best that I can. I'm not doing the best for those employees. I'm not doing the best for my team.
Yeah. Yeah. What's cool, and we've had this done, I had a coach coming in for a while, and so he would send a survey out to all the employees asking about the leaders,
Right.
What's good about it, what needs to be changed, what's working, what's not working, type thing. Mm-hmm. And so then he could give us feedback so we could become better leaders in the organization.
It's important.
And being open to do that, because there's so many companies that are ran by jerks.
Yeah.
Well, so I think the environment's not really a good environment to be working in, number one.
I think that's very short-cycled at this point, right? At mid-2022, towards the middle of the year, we're in the middle of the Great Resignation. This is the first time in my life that we are an employees marketplace, not an employers marketplace.
Yes.
Right? And I don't know what's happening on the planet. I can't figure it out. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but I know that there's 2 jobs for every person. There's a lot of people that they're doing the gig economy. They feel like they have enough money to survive and be happy, and they're doing that, right? And then the other people are taking advantage of all the opportunities that we have online and international trade and commerce and stuff like that. So I don't see a world where, shut up and get to work mentality is going to work.
No, not at all.
At least for the next.
Especially with the younger population now, because they're all about. Well, number one, they're minimalists, so the money's not the big thing. It's not all about the money. It's about being happy, and they just want to be happy, no matter what it takes. And there are, I don't remember the number. I just reviewed it a couple of weeks ago about how many more home-based businesses there are now, and entrepreneurs out there.
Well, the solopreneur is growing at breakneck speed.
Right. There's I've got an associate. His son's 12 years old. He has his own business creating logos at 12, and he's great at it. So, yeah.
All right. I have one more question for you before we start wrapping up. I've heard the concept of even if everything's right? You've got your energy right. You're able to manifest stuff in your life, but the universe won't give it to you until you're ready to receive it.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? And then, how do you know, when you're doing everything right and you're still not getting what you want, how do you know it's because you're not ready to receive what it is?
You probably don't.
You don't.
So when you say that,
spinning.
my grandson's in the Air Force. He's been 5 years now. So he went in as an E3. He tried for a staff sergeant after being in, I think, just a year, maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And he didn't, and he failed it. I mean, he knew the part he failed, he knew.
Right.
So even his supervisors go, "How did you fail that?" He goes, "I don't know." But now he says, "I wasn't ready."
So he sabotaged himself.
He did. Right.
Subconsciously, he sabotaged himself, but he
Yes.
didn't know it.
Correct.
Because he wasn't ready. He knew he wasn't all the way ready. And self-sabotage is, if you think the rest of the world's out to get you, buddy, you better look inside yourself. Because you will sabotage yourself more than anybody else on this planet when you're really trying to get to the next level.
That's
right?
for sure.
And new level, new devil, you'll sabotage yourself worse as the higher you get if you just don't accept it and for what it is and enjoy it, right?
Yeah. So one message I really want to let people know about is personal growth. It is huge. To be a leader, you need to be a reader. So just, I mean, I've got bookshelves.
Or a listener.
Or a listener, right?
I'm a listener.
Because in the car, that's all I ever listened to was personal growth messages and tapes and things. I used to drive my grandkids crazy. Grandma, turn on the music. No, I said, do you know what kind of education you can get here?
Right.
So yeah, and getting that input constantly, like reading a book. The first book I ever read was The Magic of Believing.
Okay.
And I read that book today, and I have a whole new perception of that. Because I like to look at it when you're at a certain level on the ground floor and you're just starting on this journey, you see one view. And then as you're growing, you go to the next floor and you got a different view and you got another view. So your perceptions and views of the world and life and yourself and other people change as you grow. And as you grow, you are changing not only yourself, but you're changing everyone around you too.
Absolutely.
At least you're influencing them, put it that way.
All right. I had a blast talking with you today, Cheryl. If somebody wanted to work with you and what kind of, rephrase the healing form, reconnective healing?
Yes.
Okay. Can you explain to me reconnective healing? What are they reconnecting with?
With the universe. They are connected. So everything's energy. And we've got frequencies and vibrations. Frequencies cause vibrations, or vibrations cause frequencies, kind of back and forth. So I'm working with those vibrations and frequencies and connecting them with the universe to open that pathway so they basically, our subconscious mind is reconnecting to the universe that's in there that is going to take care of whatever's going on with their body, whether it's emotionally or physically.
Wonderful. Okay, so reconnecting with your energy with the universe's energy.
Correct. I'm connecting them with the universe so that they can do their thing.
Wonderful. All right, and if somebody wanted to work with you, how would they get in contact with you?
My phone number is 702-279-9712.
Okay, and we'll throw that right along the bottom.
You want me to put that in
No,
chat?
we'll put it up there. We'll
You're
it up.
putting it out there. Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll put it up in the video, and we'll let it
Okay.
so they can call now.
Super. And then my email is Cheri, Cheri, at QueenBeeBiz.com.
Awesome. And if you had an ideal client, like where are they at in their life? Is it who would that ideal client be?
Somebody who is open to doing something different. Somebody who, I don't care if they don't even believe it. It still works. I've got a few clients that have had me facilitate sessions on their family members. Then they don't even know it's happening. The family member doesn't know it. So, or
Yep.
That's a perfect client. Somebody who would like to see somebody benefit from it that's in their family. And so, yeah, I've got some testimonials from that person as far as what happened with their family. And the family didn't even know what was happening.
I remember one of my first hypnosis sessions, and I got so mad at my hypnotist because I didn't believe. But literally she stuck my leg to the table, and I'm like, I'm so mad at you right now because I can't. Like the first 4 or 5 times I thought, I'm like, maybe I'm just doing this in my mind. I'm letting her win because I want to believe. And then it got to the point where I'm literally like, everything I have in my body, my arms and my other leg, trying to get up off this bench, and I could not do it. Like literally could not do it. I'm like, and she's like, it's just your brain. That's how powerful your subconscious is. If your subconscious is programmed to do something specific, your consciousness cannot break it.
Right, exactly.
So, and your consciousness, it's been trained really poorly. Like, it's been trained for mine. Like every time I walk by a beer, it's pick it up and drink it. Every time I walk by chips, I stop and eat them. Right? My conscious is junk. So I've got to reprogram my subconscious.
Yeah, and that's
so
what the tapping. That's when I like to use the tapping.
Okay.
So I love using the tapping for those things.
I have my bracelet. I've got to change my bracelet from one wrist to the next.
Snap it.
Well, I had to move it to change my mindset. So I move it from one arm to the next, and that's how my wife knows if I've had a bad day, if it's on the other arm when I get home. And sometimes no, it's been back and forth 20 times. just happened to be on an even time. But that it's all training your brain, right? Your brain is part of who you are, and it's a complicated machine up there. But if you can, there are things that you can do to make your life better. Affirmations are huge. They are really, really big. And if somebody can just do that one thing every day, it will change their life.
It can. When I first started learning all of this, I was going to a retreat, and myself and the gal I was with. So it was like a 5-hour drive. So the whole time, our goal was to only, when we spoke, the words we spoke were they were all positive, or they were words of affirmation, whatever it was. So every time we spoke, we had to word it in a way that it came out positive. It's like, no, it's hot and I'm thirsty, blah, blah, or whatever,
right.
Oh, I'd love to have a drink of nice cold water.
Right.
And so when you start playing those games with other people, have a partner to do this stuff and just have fun with it.
Yes.
And realize, so we can catch each other and, oh, wait a minute, now it would have been better if you had phrased it this way. The way in the way that you really want it, and not what you don't want. It's what you want. Whereas people focus on what I don't want, thinking they're focusing on what they really want.
Right. What I don't like about this topic is I feel that there's a whole lot of naysayers in the world. And what I would tell them is talk to successful people about this topic.
Yes.
Just talk to as many successful people as you talk to. Ask them. Every successful person, everybody that you look up to in your life, ask them if they meditate. Ask them if they have any kind of mindfulness practice at all. And I think if you just start doing that, because if you honestly come to them with curiosity, they're going to tell you what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? And they will leave it. They'll give you every tip and trick that they have on how they do it. I don't know that all of them are for everybody, but I've not talked to a single successful business owner that doesn't do a lot of this stuff.
Right. And they do. Like I said, to be a leader, you need to be a reader or a listener, like you said.
Right.
And
Fantastic.
constantly be learning and growing. Yeah.
Awesome.
Otherwise, you're moving backwards. So.
Sure. I'm going to let you go. I've got tornado alarms going off behind me, so I'm going to go check on that. It was great talking with you, and I hope we get to talk again soon. I really did enjoy having this conversation, so thank you so much.
Same here, Ken. Thank you.
All right, you
I
have a great
appreciate
day.
the opportunity.
All right, bye-bye.
That's it for today's show, folks. If you'd like to join my text line community, the number is 314-370-2871. All you have to do to join that text line is send me any question about business or technology. I'll do all the research, and I'll give you an absolutely free, totally unbiased answer. Get to work.